Hello guys, my name is Nick and welcome to the Nick's Toy Garage Lost Project. Yes, I started this fire truck. I have to read the bottom of it because I don't know the name. It's the Merryweather Marquis Series 3 fire engine. I actually started this about 6, 7, 8 months ago when I was still using the paint stripper. Right then and there I switched to the sandblasting cabinet. I actually lost this model. I totally forgot I started this. I actually didn't even remove the paint stripper from it. And about a week ago, when I started cleaning up my workspace because we are in lockdown, so I have time enough, I actually found this in the back of my cupboard. And I thought it was going to be a really good restoration. So now with my new modern technology, with my sandblasting cabinet, I blast off the old paint strip and old paint from the ladder, the base, and obviously the model itself. Surprisingly, the paint wasn't really budging on the model itself, probably because there were 8 months of paint stripper on there and it went solid on the car. I feel kind of bad, also because I don't have the footage of me taking apart this model, because well, it was 8 months ago and I think I deleted the footage because I forgot about the car, I guess? Oh well. But now it's back, it's redemption time, and I want to make this thing look like new again. I have some pretty awesome plans for this car, but first we need to wait until every single bit of paint is removed. So as you can see in the front, there are actually 2 pillars missing. The 8 pillars are missing, which I only noticed after the sandblasting step was done. So I took an old axle I found in my parts bin. I actually cut it to size. And started, it's pretty good, it's almost the same thickness. So I actually took that axle, cut it to size, made 2 pieces out of it, and glued them in the left and the right A-pillar, and then used some baking soda off camera to make it a really strong bond, so it wouldn't just fall out again. Even though the glue I'm using, it can glue my hand to my face. That hasn't happened yet. I promise if I ever do it, I will record it, obviously, because I want to put my entire life on YouTube. If somebody actually suggested to me that I do a Nick commentary on live, I just go out in the world like I usually do and do a commentary on my actual life, which is a pretty interesting idea. And maybe I will do in the future if I ever start a gaming or a vlogging channel. Who knows? Maybe I will start a vlogging channel today. Not really. Who knows? So I'm actually just talking to get. It took about I think 15 minutes to have the extras in place. So I'm going to cut right here because you don't want to see me for 15 minutes trying to put in the it's an axle, but it's used as a front windshield, A-pillar thingamajig. So after these have dried, you can see it right there. They still have a different color, but they're the same thickness. So after I paint it, they will look well like factory. So for primer, I will be using a fine surface primer by Tamiya, leaving between 15 to 20 minutes to dry between coats, and I do 2 or 3 coats. Well, actually the 2 coats, then I used a little bit of sanding paper because there were a couple imperfections on the roof of this car and on the side of one of the doors on the side, so I had to use, there we can see the imperfection right there, kind of roughly pointed to it, not really, because Nick in the past isn't really the smartest guy that it's ever existed, but I used a little bit of sanding paper and sand as imperfection, and then 2 coats of primer to finish off the primer stage of this car. Now a little bit special in the, well, not really right now, because first we have to bend the base. I didn't show the base in the opening bit, but the base, I think I bent the base when it was, no, it didn't bend the base because the axle was also bent. I can't remember why the base is bent. Probably me, I guess, not really sure. Oh well, 1 coat of primer for the base because it will get its black treatment after this. Right here we take the ladder and we take the base plate, take my can of black paint from the Action, the dollar store from Belgium, and paint them in nice and black. Next, this time we're not using my airbrush, we're actually using a paint can from the same brand as usual paint I take. No, this isn't normal red, this is actually sparkly glitter red, because yes, because this firetruck has been abandoned for I think 6, 7, maybe 8 months, I really thought it would deserve a glittery show car paint job, which it got. So again, 3 coats in total, leaving between 15 and 20 minutes to dry, but 3 coats, and there it is. It's nice, and you can't really see it on camera, but in real life it's really sparkly, but I just love this firetruck. Next we do the fine details, so I take my toothpick and paint in the front headlights. Also paint in the front logo and paint in the little spout on the top. I did not paint the little bell on the other side. I was going to paint it yellow or grey, but I just thought they would be body color for some reason. Next I take my toothpick again and paint in every door handle of every little cupboard this firetruck has to give. Also the hoses in the back get the same grey treatment, and on the back there's some lights. They're supposed to be red, but because the firetruck is already red, I painted them in the same greyish colorish. Also on the top there is the little rest for the ladder to sit on, because it can the little pivot point to it can go up. I use a toothpick and a paintbrush to make it, well, stand out from. I didn't really want it to be the same color as the body itself. Then a step that I kind of regret doing. It just takes away from the look of the car, but it's on there and I cannot really change it. I used some matte black paint to paint in the front grille. I wish I kept it the body color, maybe did the surround of the grille in black, but oh well, we'll all learn from our mistakes. Then I take my paintbrush again and paint in the front bumper, so it can actually be, it just stands out from the rest, and it doesn't really have a rear bumper, so only the front bumper gets painted in. Then I already straightened out the axles. Next I take a little bit of sanding paper and make them look, well, not new, but de-rust them, de-corrode them, if, yeah, that. Also I use the sanding paper to shine up the little ends of the axle so they don't really look rusty when I put the car back together, which is right now. So let's slide in the axle. This is actually how I put together all my older Matchbox cars. Put the wheel on the other side. And then I take my, still don't know the name from this thing. Please let me know in the comment section down below what this thing is. And just squeeze it together again. You actually squeeze the axle so it creates an edge so the wheels just can't slide off again. If you want to take it apart again, you just have to Dremel off the axis again. And you can do it a couple times before the axle gets too thin, I guess. So one in the front, one in the back, obviously. So there it is. Next I take the base, because it doesn't have glass, it doesn't have an interior, I don't really have anything to put in it. I wish I could make a glass, I wish I could make an interior, but I just didn't have anything for this, especially the glass. I just cannot make glass, plastic glass like that. When the base is snapped in, I put in the ladder with the long side to the back, because it can rest on the little pivot point for the ladder. So this is the end of the restoration. Please, I don't know what I'm saying. This is it before the restoration. It was still literally full of paint stripper in a bin with missing paint. The base plate isn't even on this picture, and it has the missing A-pillars. But I think I redeemed myself by saving this model, and let's take a look at it after the restoration, when it's nice and sparkly red with its chromed bumpers, headlights, black leather, new A-pillars, and it just looks amazing. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and to see you in a future video. Bye.